My Passion Gang. I am back with yet another video, y'all. I'm trying to bring you guys all different content, sharing my different passions, and y'all know the goal for is to try to get monetized here on the YouTube street. So let me make sure that you can hear me. Yeah, because nobody wants to do all of this and okay, and nobody can hear you. So today we are talking about the movie Forge, right? This movie, I went to go see it. It just came out. I really didn't hear a lot about this movie, so I was surprised. One of my cousins was like, "Girl, I got some tickets. The church is going," which made it so fun, y'all. And I gotta give a disclaimer. I am gonna give spoiler alerts. So if you haven't seen that movie, you don't want to listen to me because you'll really be mad, okay? And I don't want to make you mad. So I'm gonna read this statement of what Forge is about. A year out of high school with no plans for his future, a boy is challenged by his single mom and a successful businessman to start charting a better course for his life. Through the prayers of his mother and biblical discipleship from his new mentor, he begins discovering God's purpose for his life is so much more than he could hope to imagine. And I'm going to say, it was a good movie. It was definitely a feel-good movie. It was a faith-based movie. I think Christian faith-based movie. And I'm going to give my honest opinion because there was so much I love about it. But there was something that was problematic for me. And I know saying it is going to it might bring me problems, but it might also bring a discussion. And that is the main thing, is to bring a discussion. So what I loved was that, like I said, my cousin called me and she said, like, our home church. And I love when churches do events like this, so they rented out that part. Probably, they probably wasn't giving it. They probably rented it out, a theater for us to watch the movie. And I like we watch a lot of Tyler Perry movies and we think that's the Black experience with the church. And so this was refreshing that it wasn't like the same old Tyler Perry movie. It was very realistic. It took place in Charlotte, North Carolina. So, everybody in the theater, we was liking that because we're in North Carolina. So I'm trying to look up some of the character names because I didn't really get into the character names. So the young boy, he's like they said, fresh out of high school. He doesn't have any plans. He's just sitting at home playing the video games. And the mom is like, hey, you got to get up and do something. You got to get a job and you got to pay me rent. And I love that idea, y'all. That is the best idea. I slipped in that department for a while. But when you have your adult children staying with you, definitely, they should be paying rent, okay? So she was like, you're going to pay rent. And he just had like a nasty attitude. He was such a handsome boy, but he had a nasty attitude. Like, she let him use her car to go look for a job. And she was like, look, you got to be back at this time. And I knew it. I knew he wasn't coming back at the right time. So he went to go play basketball, put his phone down, and lost track of the time. And she had been begging these people to meet with her because the mom is a beautician. So at one point, I'm probably not going in any order. And like I said, if you just came in, I'm giving spoiler alerts for the movie Forge. So do not continue any further. And if anybody in the chat wants to say anything, you're welcome to come up. I can drop my link and we can talk about it. If you haven't seen it and you just want to talk about, your opinion before, or what you're expecting to gain from it. I would say that I like the way it puts, um, okay, it's realistic with my church experience as a Black woman in America. It's very true to my experience. But most important, it's true to my experience as a Black mother raising Black men. It is very, very challenging. And so the mother was just like stressed out. There was a point where she calls her twin sister in for prayer at her hair shop, right? And the sister brings in backup. She brings the old praying woman, okay? Like she remind me of the church moms. And we need those elders in the church. And I tell anybody right now, one of my mistakes was not spending a lot of time up under the Black elder women. I wish I would have did that. Spent more time up under them. And so that's why we love the church moms, right? We can call them in the midnight hour, 4 day in the morning, and they're going to pray with you. And I love that they brought that into the movie. And so the church mom, that's what I'm going to call her, she comes into the beauty shop and they're praying, having Bible study basically and prayer in the shop. And this lady comes in trying to get her quick weave done, y'all. And she's like, is this a beauty shop, or is this is this the hairdresser, or is this prayer? Like, what y'all doing? And they're like, well, what you come for? She's like, I came for both. Okay. So she was like, my edges. She took care of the edges, and they had a lot of prayer. But the focus is on the young man. I don't know if I missed where his father was, but his father is alive. And that was, but he was alive. He was a truck driver, and him and the mom weren't together. And it seems like he didn't really play a role in his son's life. And that's very sad, very, very sad. So the guy, he goes into this restaurant and he's trying to put his Mac down on this girl. Now, mind you, he has a chip on his shoulder. He acts like the world owe him something, and we know the world don't owe you nothing, baby. Okay, and you got a lot going against you. One, you Black. Two, you're a young man, a young Black man in America. Okay, so he had a lot going against him. And he wasn't like into gang banging or anything like illegal. He just was like off the path and very, very disrespectful. So he tries to go talk to this girl that's working in the shop. He's very disrespectful to her. And she's very put off by him and the way he looks. He's not dressed nasty or ugly. Pants ain't hanging down, but he's not looking like a thug, but he's not looking very presentable. So when he's been pushing up on this girl being disrespectful, her father owns this coffee shop and he comes out and handles him. And him and the dad get into a argument so bad that the dad is like, possibly going to call the cops on him. And he kicks him out. He's like, get out of my coffee shop. And that is important. Okay. That part of the movie is important. So he's going to these different places for a job. He goes to this fitness place, and this guy comes up to him. He's very rude to the guy. And it turns out he's not only just the guy, he's the owner of this business. I think it's fitness supplies is what he's selling. And I guess he saw something in this young boy, potential, because the boy was just rude. It's I don't know what, but he saw something in him, and he was willing to give him a chance. And mind you, it was because of his walk with his faith in God. He hadn't always been like that, but he was now a disciple. But he doesn't tell the boy that at that time. I guess I should say young man. He doesn't tell him that at that time, but he's like, okay, I'll hire you, but you have to do 2 hours of mentorship, on certain days with me. And my point is that I want to, work with you a little bit further. And on his first day at work, y'all, he is running late. He oversleeps. But when he tells his mom he has a job, she excited because she's like, look, I need you to get your life together and you're going to pay some rent up in this house, okay? You're going to pay some rent. So his first day of work, he's late. It's not a small business, but it's not huge. I don't know if they said they had like 26 employees, but when he sees this thing is run like it's very nice, high tech equipment is they're using high tech equipment. The workers there are very diverse, all different, white, black, all of that, and they even have these computers that move some of the products to help with the work. So when he's mentoring the boy, he takes him to this meeting where when he goes in, there's there's men, and they all have a mentor that they have. And some of the men, their mentor is their sons, their nephews. They're mixed, they're diverse, but it's mostly black men. But I think there's a white guy in the group. And one of the men, this is something I didn't understand. One of the men is actually his uncle. So we know the uncle is not the mom's brother. So he's got to be the dad's brother. And I'm like, well, the uncle is right there in town. But I do understand that everybody is not assigned to you. You know what I'm saying? So I had to take that like that. But I was just like, okay, well, where was the uncle at? So the uncle is also there. And he's like very proud of him. And the boy works hard. He's doing the mentorship. And his mentor, his boss, that's his mentor, brings him home with him to meet the wife. And also the wife works at the business too. So they've been running this business for over 35 years. They're very well off and their business is doing good up until right now. Things are changing. They're losing contracts and almost at risk of losing the company if they don't get to keep this one big contract. But when he goes home with the family, he sees that there's a picture of a young man not much older than him, and he finds out that was their son that was unalived in a car accident. And I think that's when the father, the boss, he began to change his life, and he had to turn his life over to the Lord to help him through that. And I think he has some guilt because he worked so much and wasn't, to build that business. And I mean, like, they had a nice house, very well educated, they was balling, nice cars. They was living their best life, except for, unfortunately they lost their son, but he had worked hard and didn't get to spend time with his son. So I think that's one reason why he wanted to mentor young men, because that also, kind of let the legacy of his son live on. He also had the young man volunteer with him at a food bank. And the boy, I think that was like his first time ever having that experience. And I highly recommend, if you ever get the chance to volunteer at a food bank or something like that, you should do it. If you're depressed and you think your life is bad, part of treating your depression should be volunteering. I volunteered on Skid Row, and it was very life-changing. And I volunteer at some of the food pantries and all of that in my community. So he had him volunteer there. I think everything was going really good. And I'm not going to lie, y'all. I missed 5 minutes of this movie. I know I sound so... I have to be honest. I missed 5 minutes. I embarrassed my family, y'all, because I fell asleep and I was snoring. It was probably less than 5 minutes, but it felt like 5 minutes to me. And I embarrassed my family, y'all, in this theater with all the church folk. I started snoring, but okay, that's neither here nor there. So I watched enough to give you this review. Okay, it was less than 5 minutes. All right. And because it was very peaceful, maybe it was all the praying. You know what I'm saying? It was very peaceful. This is definitely a feel good movie. I like faith-based movies, and we got to support these type of movies to show that, hey, we will turn out for these type of movies. If you're looking to get that Tyler Perry feel from this movie, you will not. And I'm glad. It was very refreshing. You will find it refreshing. The characters are very relatable. The outcome is so positive, but there are trials during this movie where when they're getting ready to lose this contract, the mentor has worked so well with him that he's taught him how to dress, he's taught him how to speak. And that's very important for a young black man, to be able to look other men or anybody in the face and talk to them. And that was one of the main things he taught him, look people in the face, give a strong handshake, how to dress. These things are super important. And the mother was saying, like, she couldn't raise a man. I can only go from my experience that it is very hard for a single woman. You can do it, the child could turn out great, but there are things that they have to get from the men in the tribe. And that's what this was about, them getting what they needed from the men in the tribe. And it was faith-based. So he starts going to church, he gets saved. And I love that he gets saved, y'all. And he realizes he has to give up something in order to follow the Lord. And it has to be something that he loves. So he gives up the video games, y'all. Can you imagine? Okay. I have one of those that's hooked on that video game. So he gives up his video game. His mom is surprised because he's like selling it, donating. So she's surprised because she knows how much he loves that. But he loves the Lord more at this point. And his boss and mentor trusts him. And so I think after a year of making all this progress, the group kind of like invites him into the forge. That's what they call their group that has been meeting. They invite him in, kind of like making him an official member, right? But you really, really get official when you can then go out and mentor others. So he becomes an official member. He accepts the Lord, but the company is about to lose this contract. So they're like, if you don't get this in at a certain time, you're going to lose this contract, and the business, y'all, is going to shut down, meaning these people are going to lose their job. Meanwhile, the boss is taking care of other contracts out of town and can't get this order filled. He feels like he is not going to get this order filled in time. But the young man, he is like, hey, y'all, they just finished the shift, but he was like, hey, y'all, we can do this. We can get this order done, because if we don't, we're going to lose our jobs. And these are good people. They help the community. Like, they do so much. So it's really funny, y'all. This part is funny. Like I said, it's so much you could learn from this movie, but this is really funny when they're trying to fill this order. Tensions is rising. They got to get 3,000 units and have it ready by the next day. And so the mom is like, oh my God. He calls his mom like, hey, mama, we need you to pray for this situation. Okay. We need you to pray about this thing to fill these 3,000 orders. And I think it's only like 6 or 7 of them that can pull this all-nighter and get it done. And so the mom calls the church mom. Remember that I discussed at the beginning. She calls her, and the lady is like, look, I ain't never prayed for no robots and no computers. And this is above me. I've never done that. So she's praying, the mom's praying. And so basically they get it done, right? They get the order in, and he steps up. He has to meet the guy from the other company. And he's faced with being in that position. He's already leading the people getting this order done. And the mentor trusts him that much to put his company in his hands to meet with the the owner of the other business to give him over the 3,000 units of the product. And so he's very presentable. He's firm with the guy. And so I just can't even describe it. So he's very, everything that his mentor has taught him, he has lived up to that and more. And he even gets a better deal. Instead of a 5-year contract, I think he gets a 7-year contract. And during this time, I think he tried to communicate with his dad in some way. I think he was sending text messages to his dad. But at that point, we all thought that his dad was going to be driving the delivery truck that came up. But no, that didn't happen. I don't know why we thought that. Okay. I don't know why we thought that. And so that ends up well. They, like I said, they end up making him an official part of this discipleship of the Forge. So I think that's, and one good part is that there was a old model car that his dad left in the garage, but it was busted. It was tore down, right? And the boy had been riding his bike this whole time, y'all. It was tore down, but it was left for him. It had been his grandfather's car, his dad's car, but it was just broke down and it just stayed in the garage. So when he's finished all these accomplishments, he's getting ready to go to school. He's decided to go ahead and go to college to into business. I think his major is going to be business. His mom gives him the car. So she took the money from him paying rent and she got this car, a classic, a beautiful classic. She got the car fixed up and it was gorgeous. The car was gorgeous. So that's it. That's the movie. Feel good, whatever. So now I'm going to tell you what I didn't like. Okay. I hyped it up. Yes, yes, yes. But what I didn't like is that, okay, that you're going to have to like give your son over to these mentors and disciples. They're going to spend time together. They're going to have meals together. They're going to go off together. They're going to spend a lot of time with these mentors and disciples. And we do have to address the issue in the Black church. We have a lot of young men that have been, SA'd and mishandled in these type of situations. So I can see that some mothers would be reluctant to do this. And I know we hear about it more from the Catholic Church, but it can happen in any denomination, y'all. So that's my thing. We have the Eddie Longs, unfortunately, allegedly, I'll just say that, of the world. And so we have to look at that type of thing. So I just feel like that would be an issue, otherwise, hopefully you vetted the person, which this man was vetted. But then again, I guess you don't know. But so I would like y'all input in that part. So comment and let me know in real life if that's an issue for you. If you're a single Black mother or just a single mother, is it an issue giving that trust over to a mentor to like really like let your child go, and you're really trusting in the Lord that this person has only good intentions for your son? And it could be like your daughter, because we have mentorship like that. So that was my only issue with it, and I feel like people gonna come at me. Why you gonna bring something negative to it? No, I'm just saying this is a realistic movie. This is a feel-good movie. And when we're talking about the church, I know a lot of people that is beyond church hurt because it's something that has happened physically and mentally, and I do have like a little incident, but I can't share it. But where somebody can get church hurt from from it and just give up on the church and give up on the faith. And I think everybody should watch it. Very positive, very positive. So I loved it. I love it. It is a 8 out of 10 for me, depending on what you're there for. You know what I'm saying? What you're there for. So, all right, guys, that's my opinion on that. I hope you enjoyed the movie, and I hope you didn't watch this before you go see the movie because, yeah, I was giving all types of spoilers on here. Oh, you guys, I forgot something important. So at the end of the movie, when he's all cleaned up, he's applied for college. I knew I was gonna forget something. He applied for college. He's a year later. He goes back to that coffee shop, y'all. Steps to that beautiful girl. Well, before he talks to her, he says, "Hey, is your father here? I need to speak to your father." So now he can talk to this man like a grown man, okay? And so the man doesn't even recognize him. He's like, "Young man, what, do I know you?" And he was like, "Look, I owe you an apology. I came in here, I was disrespectful." And the guy like didn't even recognize him because he's totally different. He's groomed up. He's looking the man in the eye. "I'm sorry, I disrespected you." So everything's good. The dad's impressed. He walks out. But when he starts his college classes, he bumps into the girl at his school. Okay. So it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So, all right, y'all. That's my thoughts of the movie. And thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. This is Passion with Lisa, and I am sharing all my different passions. So it is a multitude of things. So I hope you enjoy the movie. Bye-bye.